If you want 2026 to be the year that you finally lose your unwanted belly fat, improve your energy levels, and regain your health, then you gotta stick around for this entire video because I'm going to be doing a deep dive into exactly what busy, overweight men in their 40s and 50s should be doing in order to reach their goals. We're going to be going through the dieting approaches, we're going to break down travel tactics, the workout systems, and everything else that I teach my one-on-one clients to get them life-changing results. Does it feel like your health is completely disconnected from the rest of your life? Your career is going great, your marriage is solid, and your colleagues all respect you. And if you're being honest, you've probably been excelling at life for quite some time now. Yet when it comes to your health, what you see in the mirror is not matching up to that same excellence. If that's you and you're finally ready to change that, then keep watching this video because I'm gonna break down the best way to lose 30 pounds in 6 months if you're in your 50s. You've probably already tried piecing together a bunch of different nutrition information that you found online by doing all this research, like cleaning up your diet and just trying to eat healthier, or working out regularly, or maybe even hiring a personal trainer, only to be stuck right where you don't want to be. Well, after helping over 200 men lose over 30 pounds and contributing to over 6,000 pounds of weight loss over the years, I can tell you that none of those approaches are effective, especially as you start to get older. It's because they lack clarity, they're unsustainable, and they're focusing on the wrong things. In my experience as a coach, what I found to be the most effective fat loss strategy for men over 50 is what I call the singular focus method, and it's got 3 simple phases. Phase 1 is assess. What you're gonna do is start by auditing your current habits. So instead of weighing your food or logging your food, all you're gonna be doing is taking photos of everything that you're eating and drinking for 5 days. You don't have to worry about weighing, measuring, or downloading any apps. All you've gotta do is simply take photos. This is gonna reveal gaps in habits that are holding you back without having to add any extra tedious work. By swapping out a superfood smoothie that one of my clients, Charles, was getting every single day after the gym, we found a slightly different option that took him 2 minutes to make at home, and it saved him over 300 calories every single day. Not only did he lose 1.5 pounds in the first week of making this small tweak, he started noticing less bloating and more energy every single morning. Next is phase 2, and this is address. This is where you focus on making one key nutrition priority at a time. Not 10 different rules, just focusing on one thing that's actually gonna move the needle for you. If you go through the food photos for that first week and you realize that most of your meals are high carbohydrate but very little protein, then your focus should be making sure that you're eating more protein at each meal, finding things like eggs and lean meats so that you are getting protein in to put your body in a spot where it's actually going to lose some body fat, not to mention keep you way more energized and full throughout the day. Or if you know that your dinners are huge but you're only eating a few small snacks and maybe even skipping some meals throughout the day, then you can aim to add a high protein and high produce breakfast first thing in the morning to keep you full and avoid cravings later in the day. A simple change like these can help you lose body fat quickly without feeling like you're making major overhauls. I see so many people fall off of these fad diets, especially guys that travel or are working long hours, because they just can't keep up with all the adjustments they're told they have to make at once. So with this method, you eliminate the need to take out entire food groups, and we focus on one single high ROI change that you can easily make and actually sustain. Then once you have that fully integrated into your lifestyle and is becoming a habit, then you can move on to phase 3. And phase 3 is adjust. Once you have that first high ROI adjustment really locked into your lifestyle, then you can go make that next adjustment in another area of your nutrition. Again, just focus on one simple thing at a time before you move on. Don't try to get ahead of yourself or fall back into old ways thinking you need to do everything all at once. So you might be thinking, okay, that sounds great, but what areas can I actually improve? Are you having 2 or 3 glasses of wine or maybe a couple of beers every night so that you can unwind? If that's the case, then limit that to 1 or 2 glasses, but only do it 2 or 3 nights a week. Are you eating highly processed or really high calorie snacks? If so, then you can replace those with high protein and low sugar protein bars. Swapping out airport pretzels or greasy fast food with high protein foods and high protein snacks such as beef jerky or those high protein, low sugar protein bars are exactly what helped Todd lose over 50 pounds in the course of 6 months, even though he was traveling internationally twice a month and he was never spending more than 5 to 7 days at home. So if you follow this 3-phase process for the next 6 months, I promise that you're gonna be shocked on how much fat you can lose. Now, of course, you've got to be able to implement these things when life gets busy, you go into kids' sporting events, or you're traveling for work. That's why in this video, I'm gonna share my favorite hacks to keep you on track even when you are away from home. Does it feel impossible to lose your unwanted body fat and to improve your health because you're constantly traveling? Well, that's what Mike used to think as well. Mike is a successful CFO. He works long hours and he's traveling consistently every single month. For most of his life, he let his long hours, his travel, and his stressful career be the reason that he didn't prioritize his own health. But one day he got back from an annual blood test and he heard from his doctor that Mike was becoming pre-diabetic, and this shook him to the core. So naturally, he started eating better and he tried to work out as much as he possibly could. But it seemed no matter how good he did at home, every time he would travel or his work schedule got crazy, he would start to lose all the progress that he just worked so hard to get, and he always felt like he was starting over. Once Mike mastered this system, he was able to drop 35 pounds in 6 months. He's no longer pre-diabetic, and he feels confident and comfortable taking his shirt off in his own backyard pool, which he used to avoid. So in this video, I'm gonna be revealing each stage. And my promise to you is that if you follow these steps, you'll never have to worry about your health being sabotaged or sacrificed just because you're away from home. Now, stage number one, it's before the trip. And a lot of men that I talk to, they're unknowingly sabotaging their progress just because they're trying to starve themselves before they leave. And what this does is it unintentionally increases their hunger levels, and it also is going to be giving them cravings while they're gone. So when they do get to their final destination, they're starving and they're eating everything in sight. And that's how you really start to pack on the pounds pretty quickly. It's a trap that many men put themselves in despite having the best of intentions. So instead of starving yourself before your trip, you've got to follow this system, which is going to be starting in stage number one. And how you do that is the 3 days leading up to your trip, you're going to slightly be reducing your carbohydrates for 3 days. And what you need to focus on instead is looking for protein and produce. Things like lean meats, eggs, fruits, and veggies. Remember, this is not low carb forever. It's just short term to be making room for some of the extra calories that you're going to be eating while you're gone. Think of it sort of as budgeting. If you know you've got a big expense coming up next month, then this month you're probably going to be pulling back on some of the spending. It's the exact same theory that applies here. Finally, you've got to plan ahead by packing some protein snacks. We're looking for things like beef jerky or low sugar protein bars. Now we bump into stage two, and this is where you really need to have some simple rules and boundaries in place. Because without these rules or without these boundaries, it's really easy to fall into the all or nothing mentality and eat everything in sight or drink more than you usually would just because you're traveling. So instead of ruining all the progress that you've been working hard towards, just follow these 3 simple rules. We have to identify the throwaway meals. These throwaway meals are ones that you don't even really care about. You should also be skipping the random airport pretzels or the greasy fast food just because you're bored. And when you are eating these filler meals, you've just got to be focusing on the same protein and produce that we talked about before. You've got to save your calories for those meals that you're actually excited and looking forward to eating. So if you've got a client dinner or you're headed to an awesome local restaurant or you know the place that you're going to has the best cheesecake in the world, then we save the calories for those times so you can really lean in and enjoy those meals. This way you can enjoy yourself without feeling overly restricted, but without throwing off all the progress that you've been working towards. Rule number 3, you got to choose carbs or cocktails. If you plan on having a couple cocktails, then we keep our carbs low. If you want some carbohydrates, then we've got to skip the cocktails. Because when you stack both of those together, that's when you're going to be seeing weight gain come on quickly. This balance lets you enjoy the trip without feeling totally restricted, but also by staying on track. Now we can move on to the 3rd stage, which is after you get home, so after your travels. Here's where most people panic. They step on the scale, they realize they've gained 3, 4, 5 pounds, maybe even a few more. They punish themselves with extra cardio, or they starve themselves and start implementing their own fasting routine. But what they don't realize is that quote unquote vacation weight, it's not actually body fat, it's just inflammation and extra water retention. One of my clients, Andrew, he recently came back from a birthday trip. When he got home, he stepped on the scale and he had gained 5 pounds in about 4 or 5 days. He celebrated pretty hard and he enjoyed himself while he was gone. But rather than panicking when he got home and stepped on that scale, he implemented this 3-day reset strategy and brought his weight back down to baseline in no time. And here's how you can implement that same 3-day reset strategy on your own. Focus on protein and produce, slightly bring down the carbohydrates, and avoid the temptations to go extreme or start punishing yourself. We just want to let your body do its thing, and you'll be right back on track in no time. And that mentality, that's not just for travel. That's for health and fat loss as a whole. All you have to do is keep it simple and focus on the right things. Do you feel like losing body fat as you get older means you have to log everything you eat and eat something different every single night for dinner than your family? A lot of guys think that, but it is just not true. In fact, every single day, high achieving men that are over 50 years old, they are losing body fat and getting in incredible shape while still eating the same food as their family. So in this video, I'm gonna show you how to do that so you can steal my 4-step strategy that I call calorie budgeting. Because when done correctly, calorie budgeting is gonna help you have higher energy levels and be more productive throughout your day. Share meals with your family, improve your health markers, and get rid of any of that unwanted body fat. So what is calorie budgeting and how does it work? Calorie budgeting is a simple process where you start to think of your nutrition in a more proactive way, meaning that if you know you're going to be sitting down and eating a larger meal with your family for dinner, then you adjust the food you're eating earlier in the day so that you can make room for that food, essentially budgeting. Most guys I know, and I'm the same way, they plan their day out hour by hour or in 30-minute blocks. They walk into work on a Tuesday and they know exactly what they should be doing. Yet when they wake up on that same Tuesday and open up their fridge for breakfast, they think, I wonder what I should be eating. This strategy solves that issue and actually allows you to enjoy the food that you're eating while still losing weight. So here's the 4 steps that you can steal so that you can do this on your own. Step number 1 is you've got to eat smaller yet balanced meals throughout your day. By focusing on higher protein, higher produce, and lower calorie foods earlier in the day, you can stay full and not to mention more satisfied, not feeling hungry as that day goes on. By focusing on higher protein and higher produce foods that are lower in calories earlier in the day throughout your breakfast and lunches, you're then able to stay more full and more energized without overspending your calories early in the day. Think of things like eggs with veggies, Greek yogurt with a piece of fruit, or lean protein with a small side of carbohydrates, especially if you're working out in the morning. Now, number 2, we've got to keep your meals more consistent. Each meal should be roughly the same amount of calories and the same amount of macronutrients. What this does is it's going to prevent the highs and lows and some of the crashes throughout your day. After making these changes, one of my clients, Colin, he told me that he was feeling more energized, less bloated, and how much drive he had throughout the day just by making some of these small changes by looking at higher protein, higher produce, and lower calorie foods. The best part about this is he wasn't even hungry throughout the day, which was totally different than what he had felt on most low calorie crash diets. All right, now moving on to step number 3, which is my favorite, and that is make room for your dinner. This is the real power of using calorie budgeting, and it's why I use it every single day. Because instead of the old way of blowing all your calories by 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you've now intentionally saved some extra calories for that dinner that you can actually enjoy without feeling guilty about it. This means that you can sit down and eat a family meal without feeling like you have to prepare a quote unquote dad's diet meal and try to be eating something different from the rest of your family, because you know that that is unsustainable and just doesn't work with a family dynamic. Now, of course, you can't be eating a giant portion at dinner and still be expecting to lose weight. You do have to be mindful and conscious of the amounts of foods that you're eating at this meal. But the weight that gets lifted is the fact that you don't have to feel guilty or feel like you have to be eating something different than the rest of your family when you would much rather be having a piece of pizza with them than sitting over and eating a piece of chicken and broccoli and rice. Now, moving on to the 4th step, this is all about staying flexible, because you don't need to be super restrictive on that last meal of the day. Too many of the guys that I talk to, they convince themselves that even though they are calorie budgeting earlier in the day, that they should feel somehow guilty if they are eating some foods that wouldn't necessarily fall in line with quote unquote a healthy dinner. It doesn't have to be that way, because if you have budgeted wisely, then you're going to have space for some of those foods that you actually enjoy eating. Whether that's a homemade pasta dish that your wife makes, or a couple slices of pizza with your kids, or a glass of wine with your spouse, or in my case, maybe a dessert of ice cream after my Sunday dinner. If you want to lose your extra belly fat, if you want more energy, and if you want to be stronger and healthier as you continue to age, you do not need to kill yourself in the gym or spend an excessive amount of time working out. What you need to do is focus on a streamlined, time-efficient workout system. So in this video, I'm going to break down the exact same fitness system that I personally use as a busy dad. And it's the same system that over 200 of my male executive clients over 40 have used to get in amazing shape without spending long hours in the gym and without needing complex or high intensity workouts. Here are a few simple rules that are going to help you build more strength, boost your energy levels, and finally take back control of your health. A big mistake I see men make, especially when they're trying to get back into fitness, is using the exact same strategy they used when they were in their 20s. They jump right into CrossFit, high intense workouts, or really heavy lifting, and after a few weeks, they're extremely sore and they're already burned out. Now, when you're over 40 and you're carrying some extra weight, your body, it needs a different approach. One that prioritizes recovery, mobility, and momentum, not maxing out or burning out. So instead of focusing on going harder, focus on getting consistent. Your goal in the beginning should not be to destroy yourself in the gym. It should be building up the capacity for more movement. That means some shorter sessions, somewhere between 25 to 35 minutes, where you'll be focusing on a full body movements and focusing on exercises that make you feel good and that are easy on your joints. Because if your body feels better after your workout than it did before the workout, then you know you're gonna come back to that workout again. And if it's something that's replicatable, it's something that's actually going to give you results in the long haul because you can stick to it. Now, the next thing that you need to focus on is movement quality, not movement quantity. Because if you've been out of shape for a little while, you don't need to worry about perfect splits or trying to get the perfect rep ranges. What you actually need is much more simple than that. What you need is to train your body into moving better. That means prioritizing good control, good form, good range of motion, instead of focusing on how much you're lifting or how fast you're going. I tell my clients this all the time. You are not working out to prove something, you are working out to improve something. When you focus in on control and engaging the right muscles, you're retraining your body to be able to move weight safely and make sure that we're keeping your joints healthy and not putting you in harm's way. This one mindset shift can take your workouts from feeling like a punishment and turn them into real progress. Step 3, use what I call the 3x3 system. And here's how it works. 3 workouts per week, 30 minutes per session, and 3 core movements per workout. Each session, you'll be working your whole body with movements that are safe on the joints. You're gonna be focusing in on things like squats, presses, carries, and core work. No complex workout routines, no endless cardio. We're just focusing in on building a repeatable workout system that continues to give you results week after week after week. And that's the beauty of all of this. When we simplify it, it actually gets you results because you can stick to it. It's realistic and it's going to be fitting into your schedule regardless of how hectic it is. And when you can do that, you get to see success long term. My clients start with the 3x3 system, and within the first 5 to 6 weeks, they're feeling stronger. They're noticing a difference in how their clothes are fitting. They're sleeping better, and they're finally feeling like themselves again. Now, if you want the exact blueprint of the 3x3 system, go ahead and click the link below and I'll send it over to you. All right, now step number 4 is to walk every day, because you don't actually need more high intense cardio or long boring treadmill sessions. You just need to get more movement, and the best way to do that is by walking more. Because what most people don't understand is that walking is by far the most underrated thing that you can be doing, especially if you have a stressful job and you're over 40 trying to lose weight. It improves your recovery, it lowers your stress, it helps with digestion, and it does it in a way that doesn't beat up your body, it doesn't make you more hungry, and it actually leaves you feeling more energized when you're done. So it's simple, just start with an extra 20 minutes a day. That's it. You can do this between meetings, after dinner, or even while you're on calls. Then when you're out in public, just try to be intentional about finding ways to get additional steps in. You could park further away from the store, or you could choose to take the steps instead of the elevator. Simple things like this add up over time. When you do this, you will be shocked by how much change you'll see without having to invest much more time or effort. And if you pair this with those 3x3 workouts, your metabolism is going to be naturally increasing, which is going to make weight loss feel even easier without feeling like you're grinding or dieting or restricting or spending every single waking minute in the gym. And step number 5, train for function, not for ego. In this stage in life, your workouts aren't about chasing PRs, they're about moving better and feeling better. You're not here to impress anybody, you're here to train for life, better movement, more energy, losing weight. And when you do that, it's not only going to help you improve your confidence, but it's what's going to keep you being able to move with your kids long term. You want to move pain-free, and you want to have the longevity so that you can continue doing the things that you love as you continue to age. So focus on functional strength, things like pushes, carries, pull, core work. Forget chasing the numbers, chase capabilities. Because when you can move better, everything is going to improve in life. All right, and number 6, you've got to make this automatic. Because the hardest part is never the workout itself, it's you being able to do it consistently day after day, regardless of how busy your schedule gets. That's why I tell my clients to try to keep it as automatic as brushing your teeth. Try to do it at the same time, the same day, the same place, every single week. If you keep your workouts short, simple, and repeatable, then you'll eliminate the excuses before they ever show up. Now, I know what you might be thinking. I can't keep the exact same schedule every single week because I travel or meetings pop up. I totally get that. But what you want to do is focus on keeping it as simple as possible so that your workouts can travel with you and travel with your lifestyle instead of trying to work against it. And that is how you win long term. Now, of course, your workout system is important, but even more important is the way that you feed and fuel your body through your nutrition. So go and check out this video where I break down the 5 fat loss hacks for executive men over 40.